Hi guys, so this is part B of the video, and so I'm starting to go through and put some washi tape and stuff on these guys. Oh my goodness, this one doesn't want to come on. I always have a hard time finding the edge. Do you? I don't know. That's like I guess that's just part of the nature of the beast. So I'm doing leopard print on the brown one here in the middle, on the brown and blue. So I'm covering up that white strip in the middle with the washi tape. So washi tape, if you're just one of my Facebook friends that's watching this and you're not really a crafter, which at this point I think the odds of that are pretty low because this video's gone on a while. Washi tape is just kind of like Japanese masking tape, and it has all these really cool patterns on them. So, you know, it's just one more thing for us to become obsessed with as artists and crafters. So this one, I like the blue on the blue. Now, you know, not everything has to be so matchy-matchy. I'm just going matchy-matchy on these. For some reason, it's just what I'm feeling like doing. Alright. I'm putting this one along the top here. And I happen to really love this washi tape here. I'm probably going to run out of that tape. I just love it with the bubbles and the blues and the greens. It's definitely a Kris color. Tie-dye Kris colors. Alright. So, I mean, it's kind of like a process of layering these guys up, you know. We're just taping and then, you know, gluing whatever little embellishments you might have on them. And, you know, maybe you have some embellishments or some things that you've made ahead of time. Like, you know, I have this little box back here I've shown you before in another video. Oh, got some sticky jewels in there. That could come in handy. But see, here's like one that I made. These are just some little things that I've done in the past. And I've layered buttons and glued them together. Because I was doing a little workshop a couple of summers ago out at the gallery, called a little funky flip-flop workshop, where we were wrapping flip-flops with batik fabrics and putting the little embellishments on the toes and making big pom-poms for the toes. And they turned out really cute, and the little girls really liked to come and hang out with me and do that. And here I have an entire box. I'm so glad I saved this. But I have an entire box of batik scraps. And these are all just trimmings from the funky flip-flops. So I have just a Mondo collection of little bits of fiber and batik fabric that could be totally fabulous. And I may use some of these on these envelopes. We'll see. I'm going to set that aside for now. And it's there if I get inspired to use it. There is so much batik in there, you guys. Like, I could probably fuse that together. For those of you that do quilting and fiber arts, I could probably make a whole new, like, funky psychedelic fabric out of fusing all these little bits and pieces together. You take fusible webbing, which is basically iron-on backing. It's kind of, you know, like spider web looking, and you sandwich it between two pieces of freezer paper, and you build your little fiber sandwich, and you fuse it with the iron, and what you come out with is like a single piece of fabric. So that's pretty cool, huh? And I have never tried it before, but I've read about it, so that would be fun to try to do with some of that stuff down the road. I'm just not focused on fiber arts really right now. I know that there's a lot of people out there that are like, holy hell, Kris, when are you going to do some tie-dye? When are you going to get back into the tie-dye, girl? Well, I did come across a stash I had of plus-size t-shirts today while I was cleaning up in here. So that's really cool. I need to do some plus sizes for some friends that are waiting on some stuff for me. And I'll have it now more ready to go than I did before. If I can wedge myself away from making these little pockets long enough to do it. Because that's the trick, is like, you know, there's the art that pays the bills, and then there's the art that we want to do. And right now I'm just a little bit more focused on the art that I want to do. Look, I have this cute little butterfly. It's actually a sticker, but I'm still gonna put a little dab of glue, even though I can stick it, peel and stick it, because I know from experience that these aren't the stickiest things in the world. So there's that. And I think that the butterfly needs a little bling on it. There's also, look, I have these little butterfly blings. So, these little blingy thingies. So I think I'm gonna pick the little aqua one in the middle here. This seems to be a lot of blue in this one. And it has, once again, it has a sticky, but I'm still gonna put a little dab of glue just to make sure she stays in there. Cute. Oh my god, I'm loving this. I love how the aqua tape up top picks up the aqua in the flower. Look how cute, you guys. So you see, I mean, these are just, this is an evolution happening here in front of you, just the evolution of this process. But I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Oh my god. Okay, so let's play with these now. These I already stuck washi tape on. Let's see if there's a piece of batik I can glue on there. I like this piece of batik, and I think it will look pretty on this envelope here. It's kind of like a ribbon, you know? And that's basically what I was using it as, you know, was when we were making the pom-poms for the feet, I was using chunky yarns and the eyelash yarns and ribbon, basically, batik ribbon. So what I would do to prep for this workshop is I made a bunch of little embellishments like this up ahead of time, because, you know, you give kids, if you give kids too many choices, they'll take forever. And sometimes there would be people waiting in line to do the workshop with me. I could only really do a couple at a time, and it was kind of a first come first serve, like a walk-in basis. So I would make these embellishments up ahead of time, and I would cut all of this batik and had it pre-cut into ribbons to use with the kids. And so that worked out really well. And then they just really had the cutest little outcomes. I really loved looking, each kid, you know, each little girl that would come and make flip-flops with me. And I did have a few little boys too, but mostly because Big Sister was doing it, you know, and it was mostly like little boys that would do it. So, you know, each little girl's flip-flops, they would all just be so unique. I really had a whole lot of different kinds of like colors and things to choose from. And yeah, they were just all so unique and precious, and I really enjoyed doing that. You know, working with the little ones was a lot of fun. All right. Oops. So this is, the glue's still drying, but that's this one. And I might do more on this one yet. I don't know. Maybe some little jewels up and down the sides would be cute. But for right now, I'm just going to let that one go and dry. All right. For some of you, this is probably like watching glue dry, watching paint dry. I don't get it. What's fun about this? Watching this lady glue stuff. Well, if you're a crafter, you get it. I mean, I like doing, watching other people craft while I sit and craft. Because I love, you know, creating in a group. And I've had some friends over the years that we've gotten together and done stuff in a group environment. So YouTube's kind of like a huge group if you think about it. It's kind of like we're all just here hanging out together and making stuff together. And I like getting to know you guys, and I sure hope that you take the time to comment on my videos and, you know, like and subscribe and all that. If you just happen upon my channel, I would appreciate a sub or a like, because my channel is not particularly new, but I've kind of flipped around a lot, and some of it's just been me chronicling my own personal life, just kind of vlogging. So there's not a lot of subscribers on my channel, and now that I'm doing this for crafting and stuff, I would like to up my subscribers. Just being completely honest, you know, like any other YouTuber. It's just more fun, I think, when there's a lot of people involved, and we get more feedback. We get more ideas bouncing around between us. So I like that. And I'm going to be relaunching the Etsy store before too long. So, you know, the more subscribers I have, the more likelihood I'll, you know, have a few sales going to the Etsy store, which, you know, is a monetary motivation, but it's not the only motivation for doing this. It's, you know, it's one of the, hopefully I'll be able to get some support down the road from my viewership for the Etsy shop. I'm not saying that, you know, I expect that from people or anything, but it would be a nice result of taking the time to do some vlogging and some sharing some of my process here with y'all. Okay, there you see how southern I am, talking like y'all and everything. The truth of the matter is I was not raised in the South, but I've been down here for 30 years. Or longer, actually. It seems like it's been a little bit longer. So I do have a little bit of a twang. But, you know, it kind of comes and goes. It's weird with me, you know. And it's not like something that's like I consciously do. It's just the place that has rubbed off on you, you know. A lot of people hear Midwest in my accent. And that's because my mom is from Michigan, and because I went to junior high and high school in Denver in the Rocky Mountains, which was totally unique experience and totally beautiful place to live. We lived just outside of Denver, up in the mountains in a little bedroom community up there called Evergreen, Colorado. And still am in touch with a few of my friends from back then. I mean, it was a really long time ago. And, but, you know, Christy Salaback is one of my friends. And, well, Monica Webb, she may actually watch my videos once in a while, although she's a very busy woman, but she's also very artistic. So who knows if Monica's watched my videos. And Shane Frank is, in touch with me here and there, like, you know, we've messaged a couple of times. And Shane was a friend from high school, and from the first high school I went to, and he was a musician, so I've always kind of wondered what he was up to, and then later found him on Facebook, and he was in a band of really, you know, the popular kids, how they have bands, you know, and his band was called Happy World. And of course they were a little bit punky. We were kind of all punk rock back then. It was the early 80s when I was in high school, so things were pretty punk. Although I just, you know, I guess you could say I was a little bit of a poser. I hate to admit it. Yeah, I was a poser. I mean, looking back on it, I didn't think I was a poser, you know, but I kind of was. I was just trying it on for the moment, you know, and just kind of doing it because that's what everybody else was doing. And I mean, I got to see some and do some cool stuff. Like we had, there was this place in Denver. I don't think it's still there anymore, but it was called the Bluebird Cafe. And was it the Bluebird? I think it was the Bluebird. Yeah. I don't know if it was the Bluebird Cafe, but it was definitely the Bluebird. And they would have bands come in there. So one time me and my BFF Lisa Wilson went down to the Bluebird, and there was like a multi-band show there, and it was Black Flag and the Dead Kennedys and the Circle Jerks. So yeah, I mean, those names of those bands, right? But so a lot of people know that, you know, DK, the Dead Kennedys, they got to be a pretty big deal, okay? And Black Flag, for sure. That's one that a lot of people still, you know, see. And of course, they were just unknown back then. They were just like, you know, grungy touring bands back then. And, you know, the Denver was just another stop on the tour. And like, you know, back in the, you know, panel van days when everybody loaded everything into their vans and drove state to state and slept in the van and all that. So it was really kind of cool. I have memories of that. And we would get in the pit, you know, me and my friends, we would slam dance. So what they called it, slam dancing back then. But then it eventually, I think slam dancing became a little lame. It started to sound kind of lame. So then I think they ended up calling it moshing after that. So I think moshing kind of stuck. But yeah, I actually really severely hurt the instep of my foot in the pit when some guy came along and stomped on my instep with his combat boots. Yay, that was fun. What the hell possessed me to do that? I mean, like the stupid shit that we do when we're kids, right? Oh my God, I'm so glad that my younger ones aren't into that. I'm not saying my older one isn't, because Lisa is, I mean, she has the good sense to stay out of the pit though. So she may have gone a time or two when she was younger, but yeah, that was probably not the most wisest thing to do. But, you know, I guess we all have like things that we've done when we were kids that were pretty bad. If you have a really good story about something like that, please leave it down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Something that you did that you just wish that you could take back. Or just something completely stupid that was completely fun but also completely stupid, you know? Alright, so that I decided on that silvery washi tape on this one because this will probably end up in the Star Wars journal. And so I think, like, you know, that gold washi kind of looks a little bit, with the triangles, kind of looks a little space age. I'll put another little accent of it down here. And so another concert that me and my BFF Lisa Wilson went to see in Denver was the Misfits. And they were playing at the Apollo. And I mean, you know, this was back when they were just starting to hit it big. And I mean, they weren't even really hitting it big yet, but they still had a pretty decent crowd, you know. Like, I would say there was several hundred people there that night to see the Misfits. And there was a massive mosh pit. And they had, like, seriously, like, serious fans, like, goth fans. I mean, there were some really kind of intensely scary looking people at that particular show. So, yeah. Okay, I got all these tea bags, you know. I got this new thing of tea down at Tuesday Morning the other day, a nice little tea tin that had, like, you know, 40 tea bags in it or something. So they're plastic, but that's not bothering me because they're just a little shinier. It's like they're patent leather almost, you know. They kind of look a little more formal, I think. So those are kind of fun. Yay. All right, so in this one, see, I put the dots on it. Now what? Now what? All right. Buttons. Oh, there's a quarter. Buttons might be cute on this one because it's got a bunch of circles on it already. And I got a bunch of little blue buttons in here. Let's do that. Put some buttons on there. Ah! And these don't have to be like perfectly straight or anything, which is one of the things I love about trash to treasure and junk journaling in general, is that, I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can just be what it is, which is fun. I like it. All right, so I'm gonna let that one dry. This one's coming along. See, that one's starting to dry up. So now I want to put some more embellishments on that one. There they are. So I melted the pony beads down to make these little dot thingies. And I mean, I don't have to tell anybody in the scrapbook community about what these things are. Some of them I fused together by accident. But I did to do that. I have my little tray here, and I covered it with non-stick tin foil, and then you take your pony beads. And these are some I'm gonna melt down for the Paris journal. And then I found these that have like that iridescence on them, so I don't know if those will work or not. But I did these. These are the large ones. They're like big, large hole ones, thinking they might turn out really cool. They didn't. They turned out looking like fish eyes. I put some like beads in the middle of them too, and yeah, they'll be cool fish eyes if I ever decide to make a bunch of funky fish or something, but I don't like them for the scrapbooks, that's for sure. So anyways, I really need to make some more of those though, because I'm getting low on what I have here to choose from. I'm just going to dump these out. What the hell? I can see through them a lot better. So, but I still think that they're super cute, you know? And they melt nice and flat, so they're just basically like little cabochons. There we go. And I've seen a lot of people use the opaque ones, but I did the clear ones, and they turned out really pretty. I think they look like little jewels, and I really like them. So they just add a little something when you glue them on to something. And they're a hell of a lot cheaper than like flat back crystals. We'll just put it to you that way. Because these little suckers here, these little shiny flat back crystal guys are not cheap. So, you know, we're trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear here, folks. I don't know if anyone has ever heard that expression before, but it pretty much means that you're trying to make shinola out of shit. And why not? You know, there's too much shit in the landfills as it is. It just happens. There's too much stuff out there in the landfills. Okay, come on, piece of tape. Should I put up another piece of tape on this one? I don't know. I don't know. This tape's not cooperating, so I'm going to say no. Alright, so on this guy, this almost reminds me of C-3PO, you know, because he's kind of of clear. It's kind of golden and shiny. Maybe do some of these little golden, I have some like champagne colored ones in here somewhere. I'm sorry, hopefully I'm not being too boring. And I think I like kind of leaving like one little corner that doesn't have something on it, just in case I want to put like a little paper clip or something in there later. I might decide to do that. So maybe some other day I'm going to, you know, sit down with you guys and make a bunch of like paper clip embellishments. We could use a bunch of this stuff to do those with. And paper clips, you know, people are decorating them now and using them in their journals. So I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it's really cute, and there's so many great, clever, creative ideas that people have come up with. So, I mean, I'm not really doing anything here that's groundbreaking or revolutionary. I mean, this is all stuff that other people have done before, but I'm just kind of putting it together in ways that look aesthetically pleasing to me. So that's where the creativity comes into play, you know. All right, so there's that one. What are we gonna do with the leopard print here? I think I want to get my I got some of these Cricut shiny markers last time, well, recently at Joann's. So I think I want to go along here and maybe just draw some little marker lines on this one. This is the gold, but I don't, yeah, I guess it's catching the light. It looks gold. Kind of a bronzy color gold. How about Mary Tyler Moore dying? Man, what a classy lady she was, you know? That's what's been in the news here lately. I mean, if you're watching this video down the road, then, you know, this just happened for us, that Mary Tyler Moore just died. And, I mean, she was just something, wasn't she? I remember watching old episodes of the Dick Van Dyke Show when I was growing up. It was one of those ones that would come on the UHF in the afternoons. We would get home from school, and we were latchkey kids. My sister and I were. I don't know if you remember or even know what a latchkey kid is, because, I mean, things have changed so much that we shudder to think about leaving kids alone these days. But my mom was a career woman. You know, she worked hard. And back in the 70s, we lived in Marietta, Georgia, which was kind of like the armpit of the world back then. It was very hot and sweaty and very suburban and a little bit even countrified, okay? It just was. It just was what it was, y'all. But I went to a really great elementary school there, and it is still there, the Kincaid Elementary School. And yeah, my principal of our school's name was Dr. Hill. And Dr. Hill would come on. I mean, he was an old man. I mean, he was probably in his late 70s, you know. But he was tall and thin, kind of like Bob Barker. He would remind you a little bit of what Bob Barker looked like. And he was just so kindly. Such a kind man. And, yeah, Dr. Hill would come on in the morning, and he was very Southern, very old Southern gentleman. And he would say, "Good morning, cheerin'." He called us cheerin' instead of children. He said, "Good morning, cheerin'." This is Dr. Hill, you know, the morning announcements, and we certainly hope you all have a wonderful day. And they would tell us what was for lunch that day and all that. And we didn't have a lot of choices back then. We just went to the cafeteria. Of course, back then, all the cafeteria food was made right there. There was none of this, like, super fast, you know, like, reheated stuff, like, you know, made in a central location and then reheated. It was all freshly made by the lunch ladies. And I remember, like, some of the food we had in our lunches at Kincaid Elementary was pretty good. I mean, I have to say, like, you know, it was still, they were still cooking on a budget now, but they would do, like, we would have fish sticks, and they would actually make, like, real hush puppies, you know, to go with them. And they'd come on the radio and they'd go, "Today we're having fish sticks and hush puppies." You know? And yeah, there was just a really thick accent, most of the people, you know, that thick Georgia accent. So, yeah, it was fun. And oh, what else? Like, the food was just good, you know? Like, we'd have Salisbury steak and with real buttered noodles. And nowadays, these kids, man, they just don't have it as good as we did, you know? They just don't. There's so much that they miss out on nowadays. And I'm guilty as the next mom of being, you know, of sheltering my kids and being a little bit of a helicopter mom. It's hard to you can't just give them freedom like we had in the 70s. It's just too dangerous, this world we live in. And I don't know if the world is more dangerous or if we just know more, or if the fact that we know more has bred more danger. And that's what I really think is you know, kind of what it boils down to, is that I think that we just know so much more now. And there's so much more temptation out there because of the internet, that people just get into bad things that they might not have gotten into before, you know. And there's just I mean, it's a freaky world, y'all, you know. It's sad but true. And as a mom, you know, your eyes are opened when you grow up, and you just do anything to protect your kids. So it, you know, it does blow my mind a little bit how free we were back then, how we were latchkey kids, and, you know, maybe houses still burnt down, you know, maybe bad stuff happened, but it just didn't make the evening news. I don't know. Maybe it's that we just have the internet and we know more now, and that we're just scared, you know. It's being a parent is scary. That's all I can say about that. Having been a parent for almost 30 years now, yeah, still raising kids. I've literally been raising kids under this roof for like 30 years. I mean, Lisa will be 30 this coming year. She turns, well, not this year. She turns 30 in 2018, my oldest. And that just, like, blows my mind. It totally blows my mind. Like, I am the mother of a 30-year-old. Oh, my God. I am getting old. Old. Well, okay. I will try to not affirm that. I mean, yeah, you're only as old as you feel, I guess, right? So, I don't feel like a spring chick anymore. I know that much. So here's some junk mail that I cut up and made little circles out of. And I mean, if you see like a nice little piece of junk mail that's a pretty color and has like a solid field on it, you can get in there and punch on that baby and make yourself some little dots or some stuff like this. All right, so we were, what were we talking about? I think I was talking about being a latchkey kid. And coming home, yeah. So a latchkey kid, as I was explaining before I got way off track. Whoa, I was way off track. A latchkey kid is just a kid that used to come home from school and you would have a little key around your neck on a piece of yarn or whatever. And that little key you would use to open your door, and you would watch yourself until your mom or dad got home from work. So there was some latchkey kids that would have to be alone for quite some time, you know, back in the 70s. And they would actually, you know, cook their own dinners and do stuff like that, which was, you know, really crazy, because nowadays in age we don't even really let kids cook anymore. You know, at least until they get to be a certain age. But the latchkey kids, I only had to be alone for a couple hours a day, if that. My mom was in Marietta, Georgia. When we lived in Marietta, she worked the next town over in Smyrna. And she worked for a corporation called Mini Schools. Now, some of you may have remember Mini Schools. They no longer exist, but back then they had a huge chain of daycare centers. They were just like in multiple states. And Mom, you know, she had her degree not in education, but in biology and in German, I think, from Kalamazoo. But in the early 70s, which is a whole nother story about another time, she started working in Head Start. And when we moved to Marietta, Georgia, she ended up getting a job as a center director for mini schools. So she had been a Head Start center director. She worked her way up from teaching in the classroom at that Head Start, and then became a center director. And then when she started up with mini schools, she started with them as a center director, because she'd already been a center director, and so she was moving upwards. She was upwardly mobile. And then she ended up from center director being promoted to regional director of mini schools. So this was all while we lived in Atlanta. And so we lived in Atlanta for like about 3 years, you know. It wasn't really that long a period of time, but she ended up moving, had 3 upward promotions, or 3 upward promotions while we were living there. And so she went from center director, and she was the director. It was in Smyrna. The center that she was in charge of was in Smyrna, the daycare center. And then she went to regional director, which she was actually in a little building like right next door to that daycare center. So that was their regional headquarters was in the building next door. And then somewhere right around 1978, 77, 78, Mom got promoted to, there was one more promotion in Georgia. I think she was promoted to educational director or something like that. Educational director, regional director. Okay, well, she ended up being promoted to national training director for mini schools, which required us to move to the corporate headquarters in Irvine, California. So we ended up, the corporate headquarters were actually in Newport Beach, and we ended up in Irvine. So, you know, I'll save a lot of that talk for a different video about Southern California and all that. But long story short, mini schools ended up being bought out by KinderCare, and that was another big child care corporation. KinderCare was, and there's still KinderCare centers. You see, they had that that little cone-shaped tower in the front of them, and I still see there's still a KinderCare building in Niceville, Florida. Here, I swear to God, like it was. You can look at it and go, yeah, that was a KinderCare at one point in time because they all looked the same, you know. They had like the McDonald's philosophy, I guess. They all looked the same. But Mom, for whatever reason, I don't know, she didn't agree with their educational philosophy or something that she just didn't like about KinderCare. And so she decided not to go to KinderCare, okay? She decided she didn't want to work with them at KinderCare. And she had the opportunity, and they were even offering her more money than, you know, a better position with more money. But where she ended up, the position she ended up taking was for a different national childcare chain. And I mean, I don't even know if they're still around. I don't think they are. But she ended up going to another company called Children's World. And now, Mom, if you're watching, I do apologize. You know the whole story. This is probably boring for you. But, yeah, she ended up at Children's World. And the corporate headquarters for Children's World were in Evergreen, Colorado. So that's how we ended up in the mountains of Colorado, west of Denver. It was Mother's, it was her climbing the corporate ladder, you know, having a successful working mom. And her career really took off even greater, bigger places after that. But while we were still in Southern California, while she was working at mini schools, Mom ended up getting her master's degree there. And her master's degree was in early childhood education. So she became, you know, more official at that point and more dedicated to the field. And her passion with early childhood education was always to improve the educational standards of preschoolers in our country. You know, she just really was very passionate about, you know, bringing that educational model into the classroom. And she was one of those early instrumental figures in the early 70s, or in the late 70s, in working into bringing early childhood education into a higher standard. And I'm very proud of her for that. So she wrote a bunch of books, and she actually became internationally famous for her books in her community, in the early childhood community. But that's another conversation for another time. We'll talk about that some other time. But maybe someday I'll get some of her books out and I'll show them to you, because I'm still very proud of her achievement. I will say this, having a very successful mother, it's a hard act to follow, y'all, okay? I mean, as a woman, I've put a lot of pressure on myself to try to succeed at stuff, you know, because of my mother's success. And I see the pattern continues with our middle child, Nyla. I see Nyla puts a lot of pressure on herself to achieve. So I think that she's either inherited it or she's gotten it by witnessing me working so hard over the years. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, you know. I think it's good for women to be high achieving, and it empowers us more and gives us a better station in life. I would never want to go back to the way things used to be in the 1950s and the 60s, when women struggled so hard for every little thing and were often not given the credit where credit was due. If they were working outside the house, you know, they were oftentimes overshadowed by their male counterparts, and a lot of that still goes on today. You know, trying to shatter the glass ceiling, it's still happening out there, and that's unfortunate that it still goes on. But, well, what can you say, you know? We keep trying. That's what we do. We pick ourselves up and we dust ourselves off and we keep trying. And we don't give up. So there's that one. I put that little, I like that star tape. It's like midnight blue and it's got stars on it. So I'm not sure if I'm crazy about the embellishment on this one, but I like that the stamps are still showing through on it. All right, how far have we got here? Ooh, 45 minutes. Oh my God. Bloody hell. Another long one. Okay, guys. Well, this has been a nice long ramble. I'm going to probably sign out for now. I'll finish these up and I'll take another quick little clip here when I get them all done. And it might be tomorrow. I don't know. It's getting kind of late in the day. It's probably getting close to 10 o'clock now. And we've been at this all day. I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun, right? But anyways, thank you for staying with me and for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And hopefully we start growing more together as a community. And I do thank you for taking the time to watch these. And I hope you enjoyed these envelopes and things. So I'll be back in just a second with the final results. Okay, so I've finished embellishing all of these pockets, and I'm going to go ahead and flip through them real quick and show them all to you now and what we have. So I think they turned out really cute. Now, if you followed the link that I posted in the previous video, then you can see that mine do look a little bit different, I would say, from the ones that, and this one opens on top, it actually goes that way. A little bit different from the ones that Blanca sent to Liz, but this one is, as you can see, there's stormtroopers on it. So this one will probably end up in the Rogue One. And this is the pink and purple, and it has, whoops, here's the pouch. So I cut it down here a little bit, left some of the background poking through. I was really getting into gluing the little jewels on. The glue's still drying on this one. But this is batik. I did put the batik fabric on. As you can see, the flowers turned out really cute after I got done layering them. And here is the C-3PO-esque one. I used one of those dollar store butterflies that I had painted many moons ago, and I just glued it on there with some more jewels. This is actually Dollar Tree tape, washi tape. So, I mean, you know, a lot of Dollar Tree stuff to make these. This is a really affordable craft. You wouldn't necessarily need to use the sparkly gems like I've chosen to do here. They're a little more expensive, and here again I've used the batik fabric. But you could use sequins, you know, if you wanted to add a little bling, or even, you know, like sparkle glue or something like that. Old buttons, if you have any old buttons. That's that embellishment. I think it actually goes, does it go this way? Which way does it open? Yeah. So this one opens this way. And this one opens this way. And that's the painted dryer sheet, y'all. Isn't it cute? I mean, you know, it's just trash to treasure, folks. And I just cut the shape out of it. Real simple. I love this one. I love the colors on this one. I love the pink and the aqua together. It's very tropical looking. This one's a little bit more buttoned up. A little more simple. I do love how this one turned out. Even though I didn't put a lot of bling on it, I think it's a little more simple. It's a little more country looking. And this one's got the star tapes on it. I might go back and put some more bling on here. I don't know. Here's one with the pink and brown. This one turned out super cute, I think. I love I decided to make a little bow with the batik fabric. I cut some down into these little strips and I tied it in a knot, and then I just glued the knot on here. I threw a couple of those little tabs on there. Uh-oh. Looks like there's a... Okay, got it. And then I had this little felt butterfly in my stash, so it fit in perfectly, I thought, on the pink and brown. Then here's the ones that was the one I did before. So you see there's an evolution for sure. They're coming along. They're evolving. Here's another one I did out of the leftover paper. And batik fabric again. And a bottle cap that I had done in the past. And I love that combination of the yellow and purple. It's very spring-like, very Eastery, I think. And here is, she's got like, you can see there's like a little face on the washi tape. This one's a little more punk rock. I think this one's kind of preppy. This was a piece of yarn here. Just a piece of chenille yarn, just a tiny little scrap. And I put it in the center of the flower, and I like that it kind of brings in a little bit of a different texture, you know. And this one, there's those circles that I cut out of paper, just simple little circles layered. It makes quite an effective presentation, I think. And then here are the tea bags. And those I just kept kind of simple. This one's got a big flower on it. And that one. So that's it. Please do like and subscribe if you have not already. I really would appreciate it. I'm trying to build my subscribership up, and definitely have a whole lot of other crafts and things to share. It's not just paper crafts. I will be posting more and more. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch both videos. And if I can answer any questions for you, let me know. And if you decide to make some of these yourself, I would love to see them. Okay? You guys take care. And until next time, bye.